Hey guys, just wanted to share with you a little pre-market trading that I did, some analysis, why I took the trades and how they went, and my thought process behind it. So anyway, I was trading pre-market today. I opened up the screener, and this stock PSTV popped up. This is on September 15th, 2020. So it already made quite a big run up, and by the time I saw it, I think it was like in this area or maybe even close to the pre-market high. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, it piqued my interest because of that. I saw, okay, it's a lot of price strength, but I definitely noticed that, hey, it's way overextended. So if I take a trade anywhere, after this point, it's there's a risk, that I get caught in a pullback, or not so much a pullback, but a sell-off. But I still think, you can't kind of psych yourself out of a trade like that. You'll see here it didn't, really follow this trend when I got in the trade, but you really have to let the stock prove to you that it's either going to continue along the trend or the trend is going to fail because, as they say, the trend is your friend. Once a stock has set into a trend, it's always more likely to continue in that direction. So you never want to trade against the trend. And with that in mind, like I said, you don't want to assume that it's at the end of the run. You want the stock to prove that to you. Essentially that's what I was doing, what I was thinking. I guess I caught the stock around here. So at this point, I'm waiting for a pullback. I'm not going to get in here because it's kind of at like the peak of a little micro run up. So I'm watching the candles form, and what I'm looking for is higher lows. This is typical stuff. This is not like I made this up or anything. This is what everyone teaches because it works most of the time. So I'm looking for the candles to start making higher lows, and then I like to buy the breakout of the 1 minute candle or 5 minute candle, or I should say the first 1 or 5 minute candle to make a new high. So each time one of these candles forms, I'm checking, where is the price here? And like, let's pretend that it's on this candle. None of these are here. I'm checking, where the price is here. And it looks like it was probably around 408 or something like that. So as this candle's forming, if it's not too wide, I might put a stop limit order at 409, to see if the next candle breaks and then this thing kind of heads back up in the trend. And then as soon as that doesn't happen, let's say I did that, I have an order in, and then this candle opens here. My order's not filled because I use a stop limit order, so I would just cancel that order and then start that process over again. If the candles get too wide, like this one is a little wide, this one's definitely an example of one that's too wide, same here, I won't look for the breakout of those candles because then my stop loss is going to be way too low and I'm risking more than I'd like to risk. So what did I actually end up trading? So when this one was forming, I noticed that, hey, I made a higher low and it ended up not being that big of a candle. And so I was looking to get in at the breakout of the high of this candle. So I put an order in, a stop limit order 1 cent higher than this candle. And it got filled. I got filled at $4.01. I think my order, the stop was, which is the price that the order triggers, was at $3.98. So that's when it's saying, okay, hey, I want to get in at this stock at $3.90. When it hits $3.98, I want to get in, and I'm willing to pay as much as $4.01. And I guess this thing jumped up a lot right when it got triggered, so I got filled at $4.01, which kind of sucks, but that happens sometimes. But I was thinking it was going to continue on. So it didn't. And I set my stop just below this candle here because that was the candle that made me, decide to take a trade if it broke out. So that was the candle that got me in, that triggered me. So I put my stop loss like 2 cents below that. And unfortunately, this candle, there was a little bit of a run up here real quick. I didn't catch that. And then when this candle opened, it just flushed down really fast, and it went right by where I had my stop set. Again, this I don't like mental stops whatsoever, but in the pre-market, you have no other choice but to make a mental stop, and then you have to physically put in the stop order, or I'm sorry, not a stop order, but a sell limit order to get out of the stock at whatever price you decide to get out, whether it's a win or a loss. So I had decided, okay, if this thing, hits 2 cents below here, I'm going to put a sell order in. Or I actually had a sell limit order in already. I would just have to drag it down to that area and sell out. And like I said, it just kind of flushed right past that point. So it didn't really give me a chance to get out at the exact price I wanted to, which I think was 387. And so I got out at 384. So it was a little more loss than I was willing to take. And that's the problem with trading pre-market, is that you could get caught in a flush like that. And since you don't have a mechanical stop in place, you might have to take a bigger loss than you wanted to. So that one wasn't too bad, but I learned way in the past that you have to take your stops. You can't hold and hope, because like, let's say I just held this thing like long term. Look at what it ended up doing, dropping way down here. If I would have held and got out here, you could argue I got a little profit, but again, you don't know what's going to happen. This thing could have just went straight down after that. So once you decide this is the point where I have determined the trade is a failure, that it's gone against me, then you just get out. You can always get back in later. So, and that's why you don't YOLO or put all your money into one trade. So anyway, so I got out here. And I didn't give up on this stock because, this thing had a lot of potential. So I thought, this could, just like here, I thought it was going to, reverse out of this pullback and head higher. So sometimes what happens is, this is what they call a false breakout. It didn't do that, and then it comes back down, and then, sometimes it does it again. And so, and since that statistically happens more often than it doesn't, you have to keep trying until the stock proves to you that it's failing. And so anyway, I thought this stock still had potential, so I got in for the same reason. Here this candle opened up a little bit higher than this one, and so I got in 1 cent above this candle. So I was right here at 386, and I have to admit I was a little bit kind of worried when I got filled, because at this point it's almost like 50-50. This thing could be reversing or it could be heading down. And if I was playing real conservative, I probably wouldn't have even taken a trade there. Just wait to see higher highs, like something like this, and then watch for the next pullback. And as long as it doesn't pull back, more than say 50-60%, I could get in for the next run up. And admittedly, I was being a little aggressive getting in here, but I set a very tight stop. And, was willing to take the risk. I was aware of the risk I was taking. But again, knowing that, what just happened over here, we got like 2 green candles and then it flushed down again. Here I was on the second green candle and it was chopping around a little bit. And I thought, well, that pattern happened here. It's probably going to happen again. So I got out with a real small profit of 4 cents per share, but a profit nonetheless. And then, look what happened. It ran up, but the pre-market is kind of weird. I don't generally like to trade it, but if I'm up real early and, I don't want to be wasting too much time later in the morning trading, I'll try to take some decent trades in the pre-market. And that's what happened here. So anyway, but because in the pre-market, I can't have really a profit target and a mechanical stop loss in place that makes me feel safer to wait and watch more candles play out. Sometimes I tend to get out a little bit early, but that's the nature of trading in the pre-market. So anyway, again, let's say I did hold and I saw this huge candle and I didn't get out here because I thought, wow, this thing's going to rip back up again. It's going to break the pre-market high, and I'm still holding, into this candle. And then what happens? The thing flushes down. So, the pre-market is tricky. So this thing comes down, and at this point, it's looking very bullish. And I'm thinking, I don't really care, what happens candle formation wise. I'm not interested in going long on this anymore. During this part of during this part of the pre-market. But if you look at what happens here, it starts this very, very steep sell-off, and then the candles start to get smaller. You get some green candles in between, and then it starts to kind of do this little curling thing like the bottom of a parabola, and that's a sign of a reversal. So even though this thing is trading like below the indicators, it doesn't guarantee again that it's going to rip up, and it didn't. But at the least, you could get into a pullback, descending pullback, and do a quick scalp. And if you do get lucky, it could be the beginning of a new uptrend. So again, with all that stuff in mind, I decided to take the same type of trade. I'm watching the candles form, and I take as soon as the price breaks 1 cent above this candle, I get in. I get filled at 355. I have my mental stop, that I have to have in the pre-market. I have it set just below that candle, and the price goes up, but again, it shows a lot of weakness here, because you see this kind of inverted hammer that shows that the sellers are pushing the price down. And I think I had my mental target at 365. I was looking for like a 10-cent run, which is decent for a scalp. These are 1 minute candles, so that's in the span of 1 to 3 minutes in this case. So I wanted to see 365, but when I saw this candle hit like 362 and then get pushed down real hard, I thought, well, let me just watch one more candle form, and if it gets close to the 365, maybe I'll just pull my limit order down a little bit and take what I can, because this thing was looking weak, and it bounced up to around 364, and I pulled my limit down 1 cent below my target, and I got out at 363. And then right after that, the thing flushed down. So it was good. I mean, that was all based off of technical analysis and reading the candlesticks. That's what the candlesticks were telling me was likely to happen. Again, it could have tricked me. I'm seeing weakness here, and it might have actually ripped, and I get out here and miss out. But you can't trade like that. You have to trade the chart, and see what the chart is telling you, and make your decisions based on that. So that's what I did, and it worked out. So that's that was probably like the most successful trade of this whole pre-market thing. And then later on, let's see, I think I walked away from this, watched other stocks or did something else, not expecting it to do much after, this is kind of like a fake reversal, or a failed reversal, I should say, because it went back down. So I pretty much stopped looking at this stock. I'm going, looking through other stocks, and there's nothing really trading. And then later on, I pull it back up, and I think it was like around here, and I see, okay, now it's starting to show some strength again. You're seeing higher lows and higher highs. So that's a sign that this thing's going to be trending back up again. So now I'm just looking for a good entry. And let me zoom in a little bit. So I noticed that these three candles both have the same high, and they have higher lows. So the breakout of that price is where I was interested in getting in. So I think those were at 347. So as soon as I saw 348 on the as the price moved up, I clicked the buy button. I had it set for 348 with maybe like 3 cents. I'm sorry, I had the limit order, I'm forgetting this is pre-market, I had the limit order set to 351. So as soon as I saw 348, I pressed buy, hoping to get filled at 348, but willing to pay up to 351. Luckily, I did get the 348. I think I said 58 a minute ago. So I got the 348, and then the next candle started to go up, and I don't know if I was just like a little bit chicken here because of what happened earlier. But just a little bit of choppiness, and I wanted to get out. Again, I don't really like to trade in the pre-market because I don't have my mechanical stop in place and my target in place that makes me feel a little more comfortable just waiting and watching the candles form. As soon as I can get like 4 or 5 cents per share in the pre-market, I take it unless there's something obvious telling me, this thing's definitely really strong. Here, this is like just the beginning of a reversal and an uptrend we're above the 9 EMA and 20 EMA, I think I have this set to, but we're still below the VWAP, so technically it's not that strong yet. So I got out where I did, and I ended up making all my profit here because I lost so much on the first trade, and all my other trades were the same share size. So if this was the same share size, I would have lost 1 cent per all the shares that I took. But I took 3 times the share size here because I saw this pattern, and and there was a little more action here, and it just felt stronger, and it worked out. So it doesn't always. Again, I had my stop ready. I was going to take it. If this would have, the whole thing would have ended up a red trade. It is what it is. But anyway, so that, I thought that was kind of helpful. It's not my best trading ever by any means, but it ended up. Yeah, if I knew exactly how this thing was going to play out, I would not have bothered because I did all this work to get 7 cents per share. Yeah, if I could have just taken this trade, that would have been great. But that's the way it works out. Sometimes you start off red and you got to kind of claw your way back to green, and sometimes you never get there. You just have to decide when you're gonna stop trading. The first trade was a failure, and then the other ones, although they weren't great, they were all green trades, so I felt confident that I can continue trading this if I saw a decent pattern that I can make some money on. But if you say like your first trade fails, second trade fails, at that point, you already need to reconsider what you're doing and why things aren't working out. If it's you or it's the stock, and either quit or move on. And my rule is 3 strikes are out. If I have 3 consecutive failed trades in a row, then I stop trading for the day. So anyway, that was a lot of talking. I hope you learned something from that, and let me know in the comments below. Thanks a lot. Bye.